Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's short and sweet video, we're going to be talking about paradox spots. Now, you might not know what this is, but if you are in the leopard gecko world or if you're a breeder, you probably will know. But a paradox spot is a really interesting random spot on your leopard gecko's body that doesn't correlate with its morph, and it really stands out. So I want to say what paradox spots are because when I actually talked about this on Instagram, I had some people send me pictures of their gecko's paradox spots and they weren't actually paradox spots at all. So I hope that by the end of this, you guys will have a better understanding of what a paradox spot is. Before we get started, I ask that you please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and away we go. So what is a paradox spot? It's basically a spot on a leopard gecko that stands out and does not correlate with its morph, which would mean like on a gecko that has no tangerine coloring, there's a tangerine spot. It can also be like a black spot on an albino because albino geckos don't have black coloring. It could also be a spot of color on a snow. So something that doesn't correlate with what is expected of the morph. And you'll notice a paradox spot because they're really like bold on the body, like they stand out as soon as you look at the gecko, especially if you've looked at a number of leopard geckos. Like I said, if you've been in the community for long enough, or if you keep a lot of leopard geckos, or if you breed a lot of leopard geckos, you begin to become familiar with what morphs look like. And when you see one that has this big random spot, then you'll notice that's a paradox spot. Paradox spots can occur anywhere on the body. The color of a paradox spot can be any color, and what you'll notice is often the color is one that isn't found like on the rest of the body. So for example, like on Tormund, it's a black spot on a patternless body. On Meera, it's an orange spot on her head, and there's no orange anywhere else on her body. For Brienne, she has like this splotchy color on the back of her arm, but she doesn't have dots on her arms or her body. So it's just going to be something that stands out and doesn't match the rest of the body. Now it can be any color. It can be black, white, gray, orange, yellow. Any color that you see in a leopard gecko, it can be. Paradox spots can also vary in size. Some geckos have really incredible paradox spots that are like the size of a quarter or a dime. And then you have also like small paradox spots that are like teeny tiny, like the size of a pea or a pinhead. Just really small, like Meera's. Meera's is super tiny. The super large paradox spots are more sought after in geckos. Like for example, if a gecko is being sold by a breeder and it has a big paradox spot, it'll sell for more than a gecko of a similar morph because paradox spots aren't super common, and the larger they are, the rarer they are. The last thing I want to address about paradox spots is that geckos are usually born with them or they develop as they're growing, like from a small spot to a bigger spot. It's not something that your gecko like is 3 years old and then randomly has the next day. Like if you're coming here wondering why your gecko has a random spot and that gecko never had that spot before but now it suddenly does, it's not going to be a paradox spot. There's something that they have for their whole lives. And if you're coming here because your gecko has a random spot that you're worried about, you can consult a vet because I'd be a bit concerned too if your gecko randomly has a spot. It could be an injury, it could be a bite, it could be cancer, you never know. So those are paradox spots and leopard geckos. Let me know if your gecko has a paradox spot or if this is the first time you've ever heard of paradox spots. That's the end of this video. Let me know down below if you have a leopard gecko with a paradox spot or if you had never heard of paradox spots until now. Once you're aware of them, you tend to look at geckos differently, like you're kind of trying to look for one. It's very fun. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this informational and insightful. If you did, let me know down below with a comment. Also, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, check the links below, and with all that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!